AUDL presents Ultimate Greatness, a series showcasing the most memorable games, athletes, and storylines in the history of professional Ultimate. Welcome to a world where the majestic floating disc redefines possibility, and even at the pinnacle of competition, spirit and integrity still reign supreme. Previously on Ultimate Greatness, the Dallas Roughnecks were undefeated AUDL champions in 2016, dominating their competition with brilliant talent and teamwork. But 1 year later, the Roughnecks failed to defend their title, falling to Toronto in a Final Four thriller. That Toronto team had long been the kryptonite for New York in the East Division, but in 2018, everything changed as the Empire stunned the Rush in the divisional final to advance to championship weekend. That sets the stage for this high-scoring shootout between Dallas and New York, with former Roughneck Bo Kittredge now on the Empire and eager to upstage his old team.
After I'd won the title with the San Francisco team, it was kind of a life-changing moment for me as far as being done with San Francisco in general. And so for the next few months, I just worked a lot on my video game company and eventually ran into the Stevens, who run the New York team. And the way they were talking is the way I like to talk about Ultimate and the way I want owners to talk about Ultimate. It's like setting a bar of what Ultimate can be really high up. And if we all got together, we could do something special.
All the big fellas out there for the opening point: Kittredge, Babbitt, and Yacht, with Harper Garvey, Ben Katz, Matt Stevens, and Jabron Meeser. Dallas's D-line at the start features Dylan Larberg, his brother Chris, one of the Roughnecks captains, Dan Emmons, Carson Wilder, Noah Chambers, Ben Lewis, and Kaplan Maurer. New York on offense. Eileen Murray, the head coach of the Empire, has talked about not wanting to let the game get too fast, trying to slow them down. How quickly does New York want to score, Brian?
Well, they just want to do it at a consistent pace. It's been trouble all year long for them. They're a team of a ton of talent.
Jabron Meeser takes a shot. Yacht versus Emmons, and it's Ben Yacht as Emmons stumbled coming up with the opening goal.
Emmons is a big boy himself, and he's going to draw that matchup throughout the entire game against Ben Yacht. And this one, he just doesn't get good footing going up for it. Looks like he steps on Yacht's foot. That's kind of an unfortunate start. A little bit of a whimper from the Dallas defense.
At the very least, if you want to be the Dallas coach trying to take something away from that point, hey, we got them to take a shot that we could have made a play on.
And that's going to be the story of the game for New York. Can that offense consistently score? If they can, it's going to be a long day for Dallas because this New York D-line is great.
Dallas on offense, a little juggle, receiving the pull by Chris LaRock. Brandon Malachek to the former Radical Jay Frood. Bo Kittredge is on Frood for the opening point. Matt Lamar taking Malachek. Here's LaRock with Marquez Brownlee defending. And downfield, Carson Wilder. Josh Oloro was on Wilder, flipping into the end zone. Matt Jackson has the goal, beating Weintraub to the space. Garvey shooting it for Yacht. He's got Joel Clutton beat by steps, and that's, the bobble, and Yacht recovers to catch his second goal. That wasn't how you planned it, Ben. 3 points scored in less than a minute. Malachek low throw to Thomas Slack. And there's Frood underneath laying out at midfield. Kittredge quickly gets the mark on, just a 7-second stall count. And if you have to lay out to make the grab and your defender's right near you, you might be at 3 or 4 by the time you start looking downfield. The around, what a leaping catch made there by Wilder. And then he flips it, intended for Malachek, and Muffin, played college ultimate here at the University of Wisconsin, was fortunate to recover.
Frood so far is geared up for this matchup against Kittredge.
No turnovers through the game's opening 4 points. Certainly no offensive nerves, except for maybe Ben's bobble on the last 0 point. Well, Dallas is putting up more resistance on this point.
Look at how hard Dalton Smith is making him work for that reset.
Looking for Yacht again. Back of the end zone, right on the money. Nice toss from Jeff Babbitt.
It's another deep goal for Ben Yacht.
Dallas again centers to Malachek. Lamar on the mark.
Little confusion there between Richardson and Frood on that far side about who was going to initiate. A double cut from both of them in the lane.
Yeah, Ben Spielman chasing Kevin Richardson this point. Mike Drost is on Jay Frood. Bo is on the sidelines. Ryan Drost, Mike's twin brother, on slack. And here's LaRock. Frank Weng sets the mark. Chris LaRock playing for his third different South Division team. He's finally made it to championship weekend after spending past seasons with both Raleigh and Jacksonville.
Much better defensive possession here for New York. They're making Dallas work.
Until it opens up for Jay Frood, and Chris LaRock finds him with ease. New York centers to Garvey, the 7th point, and there's the game's first turnover. Meeser with the drop, and Dallas has the opportunity for the opening break. Roughnecks patiently working the disc around. Henry Ferrudo, who played a lot of O-line in the playoffs for the Roughnecks, working with Dalton Smith over the top. Yacht nearly the D, but Clutton comes up with a disc about 20 yards shy of the end zone. Dallas gets closer to Griffin Miller. Clutton, double team by Cats. Finds the open man, Smith unmarked, floats it to the space, and the Roughnecks take their first lead here in the semifinals. And Ian, for the first time, the Empire takes the field after getting broken. How does that change their mindset, if at all?
I think they have to just stay consistent and not think about it. That's one of those instances where they have to go on to the next point.
Looking for Babbitt. He accelerates to catch Garvey's huck shy of the goal line. Quick reset for Stevens. And there's Marquez Brownlee breaking free for the equalizer. It's 4-all. Plenty of fans in the stands. Certainly expect this crowd to fill in as we get closer to 7 o'clock local time when the Madison Radicals take the field. Dallas on offense. Wilder, daring throw cross field. Kevin Richardson sized it up well and then gets taken out. And the contact call, first whistle of the game, goes against Mike Drost. Richardson scored 7 goals in Dallas's 20-19 win to beat Raleigh after trailing by as many as 6 in that game 2 weeks ago. Jay Frood already bid once on this point to keep possession alive. Jackson to Richardson, and the Roughnecks are in. Bo Kittredge is not on the field for this O point for New York. Jeff Babbitt, who played mostly defense through the first 2/3 of the season, move into the O-line late in the year as Ben Yacht fires deep. Arletta just out of his reach in the end zone. Looked like Henry Ferruda had that sized up defensively, but Yacht's throw got around him. Arletta unable to haul it in.
And Ben Yacht missed the poach opportunity. You saw Jeff Babbitt pointing to him to peel off the stack and take away that underneath cut. Yacht didn't recognize quickly enough, and now the Roughnecks are off to the races.
Dalton Smith, so important quarterbacking this Dallas D-line after a turn. Back for Ferruda, and now Smith. You don't want to leave him wide open. He's the guy on this D-line, along with Dylan Larberg when he's out there, that can really pick you apart. And as we saw Dalton do several times. LaRock over the top, throws it high. Dalton Smith goes up and gets it. He's in the end zone. That's 2 breaks for the Roughnecks.
You're going too hard in too many different directions without letting the good players kind of play the way they're meant to play.
And there's a terrible turnover for New York. A turf centering pass, and Dallas needs just one throw to counter. And the Empire are a staggering fighter on the ropes right now here in the opening quarter. Heat 6'2", 6'4"-ish, setting the double team on Garvey. And he'll hammer over the top for Meeser.
Definitely something here different in the toolkit for Dallas. But why wouldn't you just stick with the same thing? New York is beating themselves, and now you're going to give Harper Garvey a wide open hammer and nice weather? Seems like that's what he wants to do.
Chris Larberg's bid unsuccessful, and Ben Yacht had it smacked out of his hands, so he'll get a free 10-yard march. Ben Yacht played here at Bree Stevens Field several times as a member of the Minnesota Wind Chill. And just winning the foot race to the cone. Matt Stevens burned Dan Emmons. Dallas back on, turns it over for the first time, and it's Bo Kittredge trying to change the momentum for the New York Empire. Kittredge gets the layout D on Frood, and then it's Ben Spielman in the end zone, soaring a corkscrew grab. Not in though yet for New York. Back to Bo. Low throw, lunging, tumbling grab by Aloro. And into the end zone, New York has it. Aloro to Lamar. Babbitt on Richardson. K-Rich gets the under, but Babbitt was very close. And the reset to Malachek. We shouldn't forget that grab that Ben Spielman made cleaning up the trash on that last point either.
He has the craziest layouts.
There's Dallas's second turnover. The New York sideline erupts as Josh Aloro picks up the disc. Bo.
A little bit of flair. High release
soft flick. More velocity on Brownlee's to Babbitt. And here's Ben Katz, who's become such a game changer for New York, taking more and more responsibility as the season goes on. Aloro into the end zone for Connor Klein. That's back-to-back breaks for the New York D-line, and we're tied 7-all. Kaplan Maurer scoobers to Joel Clutton. Resets to Dylan Larberg. Hammer cross field. Maurer let it go to Smith. Still remember chatting with Bo Kittredge 2 years ago after Dallas beat Seattle in the final. I said, Bo, how do you feel about this one? He said, I feel the Larbergs are way better than I thought they were. Both Chris and Dylan were huge, coming up with big plays for Dallas 2 years ago. There's Dalton Smith. An easy conversion for the Dallas D-line. Kaplan Maurer dishes the score.
The offense just got broken, and Dallas was comfortable enough to put its first D-line in there to play offense and get a hold. And now they're comfortable enough to put arguably a second with a mix of some first-tier players D-line out there. I don't think the Empire have that depth or the confidence to turn to that deeper bench personnel to go out there and get an O-line hold if the O-line gets broken multiple times. And I think that depth is going to prove to be a decisive advantage later in this game.
And certainly, like you said, Ian, Dallas has more depth here today, but the superstardom here from New York is, can they make those plays that we saw Bo Kittredge laying out?
Aletta just shy of the goal line. Flicks it to Ben Yacht, who's got his fourth goal. And the Empire tie it up 8-all. We've had 16 goals in 10.5 minutes.
These are high-powered offenses. They have a lot of talent on the field. Not surprised whatsoever.
Malachek, Jackson, Richardson, with Wilder, LaRock, Frood, and Slack. LaRock shoots it for Richardson in the end zone. He had it and lost it. And for the moment, there's no call, but Richardson shaken up. Up the line to Matt Lamar. Downfield, you've got Kittredge coming under. Jay Frood will set the mark. And we were talking on our Game Day Live show about Bo Kittredge and how he's evolved as a player. He's been really good in the backfield for New York many times this year, as this shot is going to get picked off by Carson Wilder. It's the first break opportunity that was not fulfilled after 5 consecutive conversions by the two teams. 20 seconds left in the quarter.
Yeah, great opportunity for Dallas if they can just work it.
Wilder, all alone, he's got it.
Don't need to work it when you have Wilder. And Jay Fruit sending it deep. Ooh, that was pretty close right there.
Marbach nearby on the dump to Cats. Now the double team. New York has a Kittredge wide open, and there's the contact. Seven seconds remaining for Cats and the New York offense. Josh Cooper, the head referee, letting him know what the timing situation is. Underneath to Yacht. Saw Ben Yacht throw a buzzer beater to Jeff Babbitt earlier in the year. This is Cats near the end zone. He needs to hurry, and he was too quick with it. And he turns it over on the goal line as time expires.
Now they got to rely on those big plays if Kittredge can keep doing it against Jay Fruit.
Lamar marks Jackson. Bidding attempt from Ryan Dross, unsuccessful. And Frood downfield with Bo as his shadow. Guys, for a guy like Frood, he's played in a lot of big games. There's got to be a little mystique to having Bo Kittredge shoulder to shoulder with you early in a semifinal game.
Yeah, you always wonder if that magic is still there because that intimidation factor has been for a long time.
That's off the hands of one roughneck and caught by another. New York on offense, broken 3 times in the first quarter. And by not scoring on the final goal opportunity, it was basically a half a break. This shot goes up. Babbitt versus Emmons in the end zone, body to body. Babbitt elevates and comes down with a disc. This guy's in charge.
We've seen that walk from him so many times. And now I've got to start to think it's a little bit practice, but he lives for the big moments.
At what point of the game could the lack of depth start to be more of a factor in your mind?
Well, we've seen New York battle an entire quarter without scoring a point and keeping their big guys out there. So I think these guys are ready to play the entire game.
Jackson bluffs the huck. You allude to the fourth quarter of the DC-New York playoff game when there were no goals scored because the wind picked up and it was just a steady downpour. It was a surreal scene 3 weeks ago in DC.
I like this change of the force for New York. You're just going to make them do something different. Dallas is really good at the high backhand arounds.
Frood tries to squeeze it through and needed to be perfect, and it was. Connor Olson has the goal for Dallas.
That cumulative pressure is going to mean something later in the game, later in the tournament. And that's something that you've got to convince yourself of and latch onto to avoid going off the rails mentally.
Big bid from Zach Marbach. He couldn't get there. And Babbitt bumped on the sidelines. On the initiation cut at this point, guys, Yacht went deep. And Chris Larberg poached off his man, basically prevented Harper Garvey from throwing into the double team. And Dallas did a really nice job recovering to not give a wide open cut underneath.
One player we haven't heard from here on the New York offense that I thought we would and played great earlier in the season is Jabron Meeser. We've only heard from him in negative ways with the drop.
He threw the first score, but he hasn't done much since. Yacht gains 10 yards to Babbitt. Now he's looking for Meeser. Right on cue. He delivers.
Jabron must have heard me. Barbara Stevens and Paul Stevens have done a great job of bringing talent to New York, putting them in this position.
Deep shot going up to Frood. Bo is there defensively. They go body to body. Bo goes down, and Jay Frood has the goal.
They taught a lot to me that game by showing me just how hard it is to win a title against a good team.
Basically a foot beyond midfield. That's where Garvey will see the Chambers-Emmons double. And he'll sacrifice the yards, resets to Auletta. Meeser. Squeezing it through to Stevens, past the bit of Chambers. Here's Yacht. Babbitt had steps deep, and Yacht fires the hammer to him, and Babbitt with a clean clap catch, no one within 10 yards. Guys, New York has scored 11 goals. Ben Yacht has been involved in 8 of them. 4 goals and 4 assists. He's on pace for a historic statistical game.
I'm almost shocked it's not higher. It's going to have to be that way for Ben Yacht this game, especially with Bo Kittredge playing more D.
Oh, there's a Callahan! Mike Drost did it for New York! No team in the league threw more Callahans this year than the Dallas Roughnecks. That's the 6th Callahan that Dallas has thrown. It was Brandon Malachek who had it picked off by Drost for the New York score to tie it at 12.
It's nice to see Mike Drost recovering well and his catching hand still working after burning himself cooking tater tots last weekend. Gave Coach Eileen Murray quite the scare heading into the practice week.
Tater tots are good, but I'm not sure if they're worth burning your hands.
Well, it doesn't matter now. He's got a Callahan to his name.
Carson Wilder with the disc underneath to Frood. Bo right there, bumped into him. Bo shakes his head. Gives him a tap of apology. It's almost as if the Empire realized how important Fruit was, and Bo was just like, I got this. Lamar with an ear D is Jackson dropping the hammer to Chris LaRocque. He's a couple yards shy of the end zone. And he flips it to Frood, who beats Kittredge again.
Their defense has been good. They've been able to make some plays. You saw Kittredge lay out. We saw Drost with the Callahan. And out of the time out here, it's kind of a weird situation for Eileen Murray because your best defensive players, Ben Yacht, Ben Katz, and Jeff Babbitt are on the field on O. So when you take the timeout, you want to put on fresh legs. But
how about Ryan Drost coming up with a layout block? The Drost brothers coming up huge here for New York. 2 veterans. One's been on the team since 2013, the other since 2014. And there's bookends for the Drost brothers. Ryan the D, Mike the goal. Now, we don't really have a name for this stat, but it means something. If one team calls a timeout, subs their O-line on the field, and then you get the hold with your D-line, we need a name for that stat, because you do that once or twice in a game and it can be demoralizing. As Dylan Larberg shoots it up the line, a perfectly touched shot to his brother Chris, who stumbled, and hopefully he's okay. Meeser, the first cut underneath. New York just 8-6 in the regular season. This Empire team was 4-5 through their first 9 games. On the doorstep of falling into 5th place in the East. And yet they rallied back. Yacht shooting it for Babbitt. Marbach defending. Babbitt delivers. He's got a knack for that 2-handed overhead clap catch. LaRocque couldn't get it to Malachek. Matt Lamar made sure of that. So the swing goes to Jackson, and it was almost defended by Wang. Jackson fires DeLong. Wilder there for Dallas. He elevates and has the score.
already you can see Dallas poaching way off, trying to defend those deep shots. And as a result, Ben Katz is wide open by 15 yards.
Mark Garvey looking for Yacht. This will be his 5th goal, and there it is. And he kind of flicked the disc toward Ben Lewis a little bit, which creates a little conversation after the point as Maurer initiates. Floats it to Jackson. Still have plenty of time to make the grab.
And a nice job by the Empire defense transitioning out of that double team, finding their assignments quickly.
Thomas Slack, marked by his former teammate Bo Kittredge. couple of years ago, and Slack didn't make the Roughnecks initially. Bo Kittredge, Jimmy Mickle, and Dylan Freechild surprised Thomas at his office one day, basically giving him his jersey for that week's game. Kaplan Maurer finds Brandon Muffin Malachek. Cats led Garvey a little too much, but Garvey able to haul it in. He's got the taller Clutton on the mark. Stevens flings it downfield for Meeser.
Now.
Dalton Smith drawing the Ben Yacht matchup and an unforced throwaway.
Meeser looking for Katz, and Ben Katz wasn't ready for the swing. Smith hammers it to Miller. And here's Clutton, wide open underneath. Ferruda. Armour to Olsen. Dallas looking to double its lead. Under 2.5 to play here in the second quarter. Later tonight, we'll see Madison and Los Angeles. Championship game, 1 Eastern time tomorrow, right here on Stadium for the 7th AUDL title. Meeser bids but can't get there. Gives Clutton an open look downfield, but there's a little urgency recovering. You guys impressed by Dallas's patience here on the goal line?
Impressed in a way, but also means nobody else is getting open downfield, so got to have the cutters get a little bit more involved.
Marbach flicks it over the top, and Miller is there. Dallas converts. That's a break for the Roughnecks. 17-15 they lead. That was the first Roughnecks break of the second quarter. Only other break in this quarter was the Mike Drost-Callahan. That tied the game at 12. Speaking of, here's Mike Drost, marked by Dylan Larberg. Ooh, tough grab made by Katz to keep possession alive. And you don't see Mike Drost play a ton of offense, but after the turnover, Oloro and Drost rejoin this Empire O-line.
Oloro played offense for most of the season before transferring to D right before the postseason. I think it was pretty critical because after they got smacked by DC going into the playoffs, that's really when the last time we saw Oloro playing a lot of offensive points.
How about the defense underneath there? Emmons thought he had it. And Oloro signals it was a foul. And now he's trying to signal it wasn't a foul. So he's going to throw off the integrity rule. And Emmons is going to get credit for the block. And how about that sportsmanship from Josh Oloro in this critical moment as the time winds down here in this first half. Emmons the block, not in the end zone quite yet. And now the Roughnecks are in. Kaplan Maurer with the emphatic punch spike. Frood's pull is fading, but it stays in bounds. Pretty good pull to the front pylon. Ryan Drost right back to Ben Katz. Low throw, would have been a foul if it wasn't caught by Drost. I don't want to strand him. He takes time off the clock, swinging across field. Babbitt has to fire to the end zone. He gets it off. It's knocked away, though. Now the pressure's on Madison later tonight to deliver, but they're at home. They don't have to play Raleigh. They don't have to play Toronto. Now they're certainly not going to have to play Dallas at 100%, even if K-Rich and Danimal are good enough to go tomorrow.
Whoa, not so fast. What about the LA Aviators?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the point. The Aviators have something to say about that as well. High throw over Yacht's head, knocked down by Ben Lewis. Inauspicious start to the second half for the New York Empire.
Another unforced error, but a veteran defensive move there by Lewis. I think a more inexperienced defender would have just tried to jump up and potentially fouled Yacht.
Jabron Meeser stepped into the lane, took position from Chris Larberg, and knocked down Dylan Larberg, shot to the end zone.
Meeser just knew where it was going and took the right line. Larberg had to kind of turn around and search for the disc, and Meeser shot out of a cannon. That's the type of big play you need to see from New York's O-line when they have these turnovers, because I don't think we've seen the last of the turnovers here for New York. Nobody cutting downfield here. You see, this is why New York has had trouble putting it together throughout this season. The cutters are staring and looking at everybody. Hey, is it your turn yet? Bo Kittredge is looking around at Ben Yacht. Ben Yacht looking at Jeff Babbitt. They're wondering, all right, maybe we should draw straws, figure out who gets a short one, and we'll have to go cut.
Marquez Brownlee wide open underneath. And he'll fire deep. Looking to Meeser in the end zone. He's got him. New York converts.
We devised a basic plan that would go and just give each player a section of the field to work with and the opportunity to play however they wanted. And so once we released their minds, they were able to go out there and just be the dominant players they were.
Meeser earning the block and chasing down the goal. An important contribution right out of half.
Classic center vert here. And this is where usually Malachek is so good, hitting both sides, and you're just not sure as a defense which lane they're going to threaten. Quick double team there as LaRock has the disc and is going to shoot it deep.
Olsen going for it. Drost defensively can't get there because Connor Olsen rises up in the end zone. Each team has scored once so far here in the third. And Garvey just threw it to no one. He was trying to get it to Yacht, but Ben was going deep.
Well, to be fair, Yacht did set up that deep shot with an underneath cut, but Yacht had broken it off at the point of release, and those are the kind of chemistry issues you can't be having in a Final Four game. You got to have that worked out before you get to this stage.
Dylan Larberg on the doorstep. Oh, just a little flick of the wrist to Henry Ferruta.
Really soft defense from Dallas right away. They're just saying, okay, we're going to stop anybody from going deep. You're going to go ahead and get some easy unders. And if you're New York, find the way to just keep working it around and rotating through your handlers, cycling Ben Katz with Harper Garvey, and you'll find those underneath routes. Quick disc movement here would just really open up the New York offense.
Reset to Garvey.
And to your point, Brian, why didn't Harper just hit that swing to Katz there? Just keep moving the disc laterally. Open up those new lanes. Keep the defenders constantly readjusting.
Making it really easy for Dallas to kind of know how to play defense.
Arletta bumped after the catch, and he'll march off the 10 yards. Ben Yacht, 5 goals, 5 assists in the first half. And 2 Stevens, they connect. Empire back within 3 on Ben Yacht's 6th assist of the day. New York's down a few breaks. They need to get it back defensively, but Dylan Larberg rifles one long. Olsen can't come up with a great catch this time. And immediately, is it a timeout or an injury? Looks like Josh Aloro shaken up.
And this is something here for us. The unforced errors.
Great D by Thomas Slack for Dallas, just taking the disc right back for the Roughnecks. Jackson for Smith. To Slack. And now Larberg. Looking for Frood. It was a throw that didn't have enough on it, and easily spiked down by Mike Drost. And now here's the big hammer from Garvey. It's a 50-50. And Dylan Larberg fouled Mike Drost, going for the block.
That's a high-risk, high-reward shot there from Harper Garvey. Imperfect execution. You've got a chance to march the disc down the field, and you throw that out just hoping that you can get a foul call out of it. I don't know if I like that decision.
I don't think Garvey threw it with a hope to get a foul call out of it, but he was certainly bailed out.
Spielman near the goal line, but not in yet, takes the reset to Wang. Garvey, bold throw, and he had enough sauce on it to connect with Spielman for the score. Dallas just broken, leading by 2. Again, playing offense without their leading goal scorer from the playoff game, Kevin Richardson. Playing defense without Dan Evans. They're both out for the rest of the game. They both have hoped that they could come back tomorrow, but first Dallas needs to hang on here. Malachek to Maurer to Larocque. With Kittredge on Larocque, he breaks the mark and finds Lewis in the end zone. Yacht on the under with Clutton there defensively. Back to Garvey with Armour bouncing on the mark. And here's Elliott Lee to Yacht. Swing over to Elliott Lee, 23-year-old out of Yale.
Stevens has had himself a quiet, good game, just running all over the field, and that's something he's been known for. He has a lot of endurance, pays dividends here, using all of the 53 yards.
There was contact downfield, and it's going to give a free 10 yards to New York.
I think Henry Ferruda might have busted into Matt Auletta with his forearm and knocked him to the turf, resulting in a foul call.
That's what it was. Stevens to Auletta. Well, New York back out there on defense. As the deep shot goes up, Frood being chased by Drost, and that's an easy goal for Dallas.
You have to find a way to make Jay Frood a thrower, because if you don't, this is just going to happen over and over again. Ryan Drost is able to make up quite the amount of ground.
Frood involved in 7 different scores, 4 goals, 3 assists for the Roughnecks. Tough catch made by Brownlee on the sideline. And Katz over to Garvey, and now Meeser. He's waiting for a cut. Nothing transpired. Forced to go back over the top to Katz. And Yacht. Ben Lewis doing a pretty good job being active on the mark. Garvey catches the swing. Closing in on 3.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Dallas is led by as many as 4. The Roughnecks currently up by 3.
You can see New York is just forced to work now that they don't have the athletes on the field with Babbitt missing.
Auletta into the end zone for Meeser. Each team with 1 break so far in this quarter. Dallas took a 20-16 lead, and then New York got it back. Good pressure underneath by Drost. Forces the throw up line. Malachek thought about the big one. Cross midfield to Wilder. He's had the range today. That was a low laser, but Frood able to run it down because of the separation. And Jay with the assist to Slack. And that was too easy if you're New York's defense. Stevens, Brownlee, Meeser, and Yacht, the 4 cutters, now joined by Letta downfield. Meeser resets to the wide open Garvey, completely unmarked.
Like we've talked about, a really soft defense here from Dallas. You see Dalton Smith just hanging in the deep space, not guarding anybody in particular.
can be unnerving as a thrower to have no one marking you. A Japanese maneuver from Dalton Smith. Garvey gets to midfield and finally has a mark. Seen that from the Buzz Bullets, famous team from Japan, many times. And well, now he's feeling the mark. Foul called on Smith. Garvey walks off 10. Ben Katz able to shake free of Matt Armour. Ben Katz, who's been fairly quiet today compared to how impactful he's been throughout the past couple months. These next 100 seconds are going to be really important as we decide who advances to Sunday here in Madison. Can Dallas stretch the lead to 3 or 4? Can New York try to get back within 1? Or maybe even tie it up in the final minute or so? LaRock and Slack play catch. You've got Kittredge on Frood in the middle of the stack as Wilder launches deep again, and Carson Wilder has the range tonight, folks. He is absolutely dialed in. Important possession here, late in the third for New York. Brownlee wide open. Stall count was rising, and Brownlee somehow found Auletta through the traffic. And now Auletta shoots it to Meeser. And it works out for the Empire. Jackson waiting for the pull to LaRock. Remember, gentlemen, Dallas will receive the disc to start the fourth.
I'd love to see some teams recognize the situational kind of mode they should be in, because here Dallas doesn't need to score if they're going to receive to keep their advantage. They have to make sure the Empire doesn't score.
So you think they should kind of wait for the last shot in a way? Wilder, he's on fire, and there's a bid in the end zone for Matt Jackson. So Dallas scores with 15 seconds on the clock. That was not a very good pull from the Dallas defense. So across midfield, Garvey picks up to Yacht. Babbitt is out there. And goodness gracious.
And this is the pull that Jay Frood probably wanted.
Ahead to LaRock. He gets off the backhand. Floating to the end zone as time expires. And it's intercepted by Ross Ward, shy of the goal line. And New York will head to the fourth quarter, trailing by just 2. One thing to note about Yacht, he was involved in 10 scores in the first half, only 1 in that third quarter. Chris LaRock wants Jay Frood. Bo Kittredge wants the block. It's deflected, and Frood recovers for the score.
So it's going to end up being a pick with New York moving back. And this is where Dallas wants New York to be. They just missed the shot on the turnover. Looking for the dump for Garvey once again. Another unforced turnover for New York.
Dallas looking to capitalize and match its largest lead by going back up by 4. To Clutton. Thought about the hammer. To Maurer. This feels like a pivotal pendulum moment in this game. And from the Dallas sideline, Wes Nemec takes a timeout. There was certainly contact in the middle of the field. We play on because the Roughnecks completed. Maurer crossfield hammer. Right on the money for Dalton Smith. Has Ben Yacht gotten tired? Because he was a behemoth in the first half, and he catches this under, but he hasn't been nearly involved since halftime.
Well, they've done a good job of eliminating the things that he does well, and with Babbitt playing on the D-line instead of the O, there's just that other deep receiver isn't available. So you see Dallas early in possessions saying, you're not going to throw it deep. I'm going to make you work.
Yacht shoots it for Stevens. New York within 3, 7:52 to go.
And I said, Matt, I'm not going to leave New York until we win a national championship for you, because that's what's going to happen. And you mark my word, it's going to happen.
Kittredge trying to be active on the mark. LaRock. Oh, what a grab! In the end zone, tremendous athleticism from Connor Olson. This 19-year-old has been special today.
Well, this is a different type of beating your assignment to the four-side cone.
Takes the easy reset for Dylan Larberg. And now Noah Chambers, another youngster. Larberg cross field to his brother in the end zone. Largest lead of the day for the Dallas Roughnecks. Garvey shoots it up line, tight crevice, and it's knocked away by Marbach. Yacht may have not realized that the trail side defender was coming. Carson Wilder picks up for Dallas. And Clutton rifles one downfield. Cats there defensively, and he comes up with the apex block.
What a read by Katz. That's really tough. He's outsized there by 6 inches. And there's a little bit of gamesmanship going up for the disc. Trying to fake, oh, I'm going up early, and then getting around the backside.
Katz rifles deep. He's got Kittredge and Yacht both nearby. Bo shoulder to shoulder through the contact. Has the goal for New York. He should get a free throw after scoring that goal. Precious seconds ticking away for New York. Frood gets it to Malachek. Looking for Slack. And that was bladed perfectly to the back line for Thomas Slack. They lead by 5 with just over 3 minutes to play, and New York doesn't have much time to dilly-dally. Ben Yacht still hasn't scored a goal in the first half after he caught the first 3 of the game, had 5 in the first half. There's a nice grab. Jabron Meeser.
And this is the last gasp because you see Yacht on the field. It's now or never. And you have to find a way to get a quick turnover. So just making Dallas work is not an option. You want Ben Katz and Josh Alora around the disc. They're great defenders in that area.
There's Mike Drost coming up with a block on the underneath shot intended for Chris LaRock. Up the line.
So clutch here if either one of them can stop this movement.
Katz unable to prevent Larberg, then gets it to Frood. Quick double team. Frood resets again. The Dallas Roughnecks 44-5 all time, playing their 50th career game in franchise history since they were founded in 2016. And Connor Olson bids and scores the exclamation point for the Roughnecks.
Right now, I would put it up to Yacht right away.
Underneath to Meeser. Yacht's calling for it.
Goodness.
Realizing they don't have the time to waste. Here's Garvey. Not usually hesitant to fire. Here we go. Near the sideline. Yacht hammered, ruled inbounds as he endured the contact from Clutton. Trying to set it up on the goal line. And Dallas turns it over. Aloro to Yacht. Evades the bidding Wilder. You got to score in like the next 5-6 seconds here if you're New York.
You got to put this up.
Aloro goes with a hammer. And this is going to work. 16 seconds left. New York within 2. And Dallas on the verge of locking up a trip to the title game. Smith to the end zone for the game clincher. Maybe one day he'll be able to score 2 or 3 goals in one throw, but not at the moment. Ben Yacht skies again, hits Brownlee. There are 6 seconds left on the stadium clock. Drop pull here again. Dallas just flings it into the backfield. And when Dylan Larberg secures possession, he doesn't have to throw it again. The Dallas Roughnecks have taken down the New York Empire 32-30, and the Roughnecks are headed back to the finals.
The year was about as good of a year as I possibly could have imagined. Losing that game and the way we lost and the way we beat Toronto, it had a perfect recipe for coming out next year and being one of the better teams in the league.